Merry Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys so much for stopping by again. This holiday season, I wanted to bring you something super special, and we have advanced Frostnite tips and tricks. My original video, although gave you a general sense of what to do, it didn't really go into the details on how to beat Frostnite efficiently. This video is going to change that. The current record, I believe, is 2 hours, 14 minutes, and 51 seconds. My current best time is 1 hour and 43 minutes and 21 seconds. If you want to get these times, if you want to show off to your friends or, just see if you can do it, this is the video for you. We're going to be going over every little nitpicking tidbit thing and get you guys the best, most efficient way to beat Frostnite, because this is one of the hardest, if not the hardest event they have ever put out. But honestly, I think it's quite fair. However, I'm going to tell you guys right now, there is a skill gap, I guess you could say, a time gap, that if you do not have certain things, it's going to be impossible for you to beat. And I just realized this a little bit ago, but I'm going to tell you that as well. In fact, we're going to start off with that. In my first video, I said farm, farm, farm. And although that still reigns true, trap, trap, trap is definitely a close second. See, this is the skill gap, time gap that I was speaking about. You need fully leveled up, fully perked up, which is the real grind, traps to complete this. Specifically, ceiling gas traps. Eventually, the husks just become too numerous and too tanky to kill one by one, and you need to rely on your traps to do so. And out of all the damaging traps, we all know that the ceiling gas trap is king. You need to have this perked up max, leveled max, if you want to get far in Frostnite. It's just how it is, and it's a grind to do so, but it is a thing. The second one you want to look at is wall darts. Wall darts are the only trap that can hit over 3 tiles and do damage in those little corners where you don't really want wall pushers or wall lights. You're gonna need the extra DPS, trust me. So if you do have a pair of these, make sure to level them up as high as you can. I personally don't even have all of them leveled, as you can see in the video. Some of them aren't perked up at all, but most of them I have to full blue. The next ones you want to make sure you have and level as high as you can are wall launchers. The name of the game in Fortnite is no longer damage, it's time management. You need to make the husks take as long as humanly possible to get to your base, and pushers and wall lights and spikes, freeze traps are the best bet. Wall launchers you can make into timeout boxes with stun lights and just keep them there underneath a gas trap. Make sure you have these. You need them for almost every single trap tunnel you're going to make. Like I said, next up are stun lights. Again, not something I can fully perk up, I just do not have the resources. And again, time management is what you're looking at here. These things, what they basically do is break their impact threshold and become available to stun. And hopefully the next set of lights, the next wall pushers, the next freeze trap will actually be able to do its job and take down the movement of the husk just a little bit more. Like I said, freeze trap and wooden floor spikes are also key in this, as they're going to be littered everywhere in your base. Make sure to build trap tunnel after trap tunnel after trap tunnel, and if you have the resources to do so, make sure you build timeout boxes, which is just a wall pusher into a second tile with a bunch of traps on all 3 walls. Now that you know how to trap and what traps you're looking at, and know that you need to fully perk them up, except maybe the wooden floor spikes, let's get into a little more details on how to actually build the base. Just a heads up, all the footage you're about to see is from my 1 hour and 43 minute run live on stream. All the gameplay is me. However, I put a mosaic over my face because I don't want what I am saying, my voice overlay that I'm recording now, to not match up with my face on stream. It annoys me when streamers do this, so I just wanted to nip that in the butt, as it were. However, let's talk about exactly how you're going to build this base. When you first load into Frostnite, you have basically a single atlas, right? You have the furnace. How should you build that? Well, most people do the normal thing, a box around it, upside down stairs, and eventually floor launchers. to underneath each set of stairs to knock back the husks that eventually do make it in. But the husks that do make it in actually aren't the problem. The issue tends to be propanes and lobbers, and I'm going to tell you how to counter both of these right now, because if you can get rid of them, you can get pretty far. A lot of people don't realize that once wave 4 and 5 happen, that is when lobbers and propanes start to spawn, and they do not stop. And the big trick that a lot of people don't understand is that eventually lobbers will one-shot even tier 3 walls and even tier 3 walls with base on them. The trick is to not be in your tunnels, because they will target you inside the tunnels. But the big thing is that those same lobber skulls will ignite all the propanes that are sitting in the tunnels. So if you've ever had a moment where you're like, why did those propanes go off? And then you see you have an army of flingers and lobbers, you can bet your bottom dollar that that's the reason why. Somebody went into the tunnel to collect some loot. A lobber locked onto them and threw it, one-shotting the tier 3 wall and exploding all of the propanes underneath. In fact, that's how we lost this run. So I'm going to show you how to counter both of those things. Even though the propanes don't have too much of a counter, there is a little one, but we didn't even use that either, because it's quite dangerous to use. But the main one, the big one, is countering those lobbers, as they will one-shot everything, and there are millions of them that spawn. Around the third or fourth take, I realized that I'm not going to be able to explain this properly without showing you guys a picture of what I mean. And I am not an artist. I may be able to make a cool looking thumbnail now and again, but I cannot draw to save my life. So I just mocked something up in Photoshop really quickly to get my point across of exactly how you should build and why. This is going to be your main base build. You have your furnace, you have your upside down stairs. This is a side section. Like if you were to take the map and cut it in half right at the middle of the furnace, this is what you would see. You would repeat this 360 degrees around all spawns of the furnace, and it's quite resource intensive, but we're going to talk about that when we get to the hero section. However, you're going to want to build 2 to 3 tiles high, 4 tiles out to cover almost the spawns, and then you use again upside down staircases to build 4 tiles up. Again, this is 360 degrees in every direction. Once you get 4 tiles up again, except for the one spawn when they're in that little cavern next to the military base, that one you don't want to go up as high. But once you get up to that 3 to 4 tile high mark, you're going to want to build out once more 2 to 3 tiles. You're going to want to cover every single spawn you can. What this does, and when this was invented, was during the first Survive the Storm, which was a lot harder back then based on the levels everybody was. This deters all lobbers from throwing their skulls at your base and forces them to walk closer and usually directly into your kill tunnels. They are not tanky and they die quickly, but you need to do this around wave 3 or 4. Any later, it's game over.
I provide the people of this community with propane and propane accessories.
The second thing that will end your game faster than you can blink an eye, and what ended our game, is propanes. Propane tanks in this game is a ever constant threat that you need to figure out a way to deal with. The main way is to build a lobber shield and kill tunnels, but you will have a ton of propanes just sitting in your kill tunnels, which becomes a problem. There is a very risky way to deal with this, but we'll touch on that after we discuss the main way to deal with them. That being, just avoid them. Stay away from everything, and if you do trigger a propane to throw a tank at you, make sure you zoom back to the base as fast as you can. Your base is not important, your trap tunnels are. The reason being is eventually you run out of resources on the map to replace the traps that get destroyed. If you have to rebuild 30 traps on a trap tunnel on the west side, you're not going to have enough traps left to retrap the right side, and it just becomes this snowball effect. So how else can you deal with them? There is a way to bring a teleporter with you as one person's gadget, and you can strategically place it down in front of propanes and smash them with your pickaxe and throw them into the teleporter. This does work. It takes very precise teamwork to pull off though. If one little misstep and you hit it not into the teleporter, it's going to blow up your entire tunnel. I do not recommend this unless you are in a full team, a very experienced player, and you think you can pull it off. I didn't even do it, and I've been playing this game since day one. Those are the two ways to do it. The lobber shield will make the propanes being randomly blown up by lobbers null and void, so you don't have to worry about that as long as you put up that original base build that we just discussed.
Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
Let's talk about the gut check round, the taker wave. You guys know what I'm talking about. Round 9 or 10, right at that 45-minute mark, that kills a lot of teams. Now, these takers are super annoying to kill. They move fast. As soon as you aim on them, they have that mechanic, and they will one-shot your team. If you're playing at 88, 77, whatever you're playing at, as long as it's appropriate, they will basically one-shot you, if not two-tap you, which is very dangerous. You need to figure out a way to defeat them. If you followed my steps and you built the base like you see in the video and the little graph that I made, this is the way to do it. You move up to the second level, and you should have that 4 tiles on all side blank area to move around with. Make sure you can build walls super fast. If you do not have the DPS or they dodge your bullets, just put up a wall in front of you and run through them. Doors also help, allowing you to just run through a door and save your butt, as the taker hits the wall and not able to hit you, but you can run through it through the doorway. Besides that, Outlanders here are your best bet because of their phase shift. They can zig and zag and get out of the way of the things. Be careful here as you're shooting them in the tunnels, trying to kill them before they can even get to your base. Do not set off propanes. I believe that may have happened to us. But if you're having a really hard time with this wave, and it happens again around wave 18 or 19, just go up to that second level if you followed the base build and just avoid them at all costs. Sometimes you don't need to kill them, like I said, and just repair the furnace to get through the round. Now, with all these tips and tricks out of the way, let's go over the correct team, the best team that you can use for Frostnite. Now, let's talk about the team that you might want to bring. This video is getting a little long, so I want to do this as fast as possible. Originally, I said to bring a team of 2 Outlanders, 1 Soldier, and a Constructor. And let's start off with that Constructor. I recommended Machinist and or Demolitionist because I had thought that eventually it would just get down to rocket spam, and she's the best at that. Now, it can get down to that point, and I think it did for us for a few minutes, but if all of your tunnels explode, you're kind of screwed either way. However, this time we're going to talk about Power Base Nox and Power Base Kyle and Penny. If you have one of these constructors, they are absolutely the best. They have the second biggest base in the game at 6 tiles, and they have the all-important repair on walls. This helps minimize materials needed to repair your walls after each wave. And on top of that, they have recycling, letting your constructor / builder be able to leech off of that and get more and more resources. At the end of this run, resources were not a problem because of these tips, but resources to build traps were, which that doesn't help. Next up, let's talk about Outlanders. Originally, I said to bring Enforcer or Jess to do extra pistol damage, and granted that works, but your best bet is to bring a pure farming class, specifically Striker AC. If you are the designated farmer, then make sure you bring a Striker AC or a Pathfinder Jess to be able to farm the materials as fast as humanly possible. Doing so will ensure that your team has enough resources, enough traps to build everything that they need to, because once again, you are relying simply on your traps to kill. The extra pistol damage, the extra teddy damage really doesn't matter once you get later into the game. And next up, we have soldiers. And what soldiers can you bring into the game? So now you have your constructor, you have your Outlander. What are the last 2 people? You can do 2 soldiers, and I'll give you an example of 2 that you can bring in, or you can do 2 Outlanders and 1 soldier. If you choose to do the double Outlander, I would bring 2 different ones that are well versed in farming and not the same one, so not 2 strikers. But we're talking about soldiers here and which one to bring. Now, I think your best bets are the following 2. You want Urban Assault Headhunter, which is, Ramirez with the insane fast fire rate. These are to take down the bigger targets. In fact, it's not even used for that. It's basically to apply debilitating stacks. Plus, she has a minigun, which comes in handy some of the time. Like I said, this video is getting a little long, so my personal A team would be Power Base Nox, Striker AC, Urban Assault Headhunter, or Survivalist Hawk, either one, and then another Outlander that's a little different, maybe Shock Specialist, something that has a lot of mobility and the punch to help with farming. That would be my personal A team. We made it pretty far with 2 soldiers and 1 Outlander, but in the beginning, farming was rough and it put us behind. The last thing I just wanted to touch on are the gadgets. There's really only 3 that you're going to choose from, maybe 4, and that's going to be your heal, which is Adrenaline Rush, and turrets. Most people run those, but I'm telling you, once you get past the hour and 30-minute mark, turrets really don't do too much. What does help a lot are slow fields. I would absolutely recommend that at least 2 people in your group run slow field and the other 2 run turrets. This is for the oh crap moments, we're about to lose moments, and things like that. I would also maybe have the constructor bring a supply drop. This really helps out at the beginning of the game to grant you extra supplies to build the base that I discussed, and just really helps supplement the really bad early game that having no materials is for. And that's really it, guys. If you follow these tips, which I hope you do, and just to recap on them one more time, it's the A team is 2 soldiers or 2 Outlanders, 1 constructor, and then I would also bring 2 slow fields, 2 turrets. Make sure you dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge on the taker wave. Build the lobber shield. You can try the transporter, the teleporter with propanes, but I wouldn't really recommend it. Just stay out of the tunnels. Make sure to level up your traps as high as you can, because otherwise you're just not going to kill them fast enough and everything's going to make it to your base. If you follow these tips, I'm sure you will improve your times. This is the best stuff I can suggest. Lastly, if you haven't seen it, check out my cash farming video. I do this at the first round before the 3 minutes are even up to at least be able to craft weapons on wave 2. If you grab all 14 of those chests in 3 minutes, it will really help out the beginning game and have your team armed and ready to go for anything you may fight. That's really it, guys. Those are the advanced tips and tricks for Frostnite. Using these techniques should be able to help you improve your time. You can see in the video we started losing it around an hour and 40 minutes in. We made it a little farther, but not much. But we used all of these things that I said in the video. If you're struggling to complete Frostnite or get a higher time, or if you just need that 45-minute marker, use these tips. I promise they will help your time out. They really will. You need to do these things, especially that lobber shield, to get anywhere near 45 minutes. And if you're still having problems and you still cannot do it, just stop by my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/roundedtiktak, and I will help you out to the best of my ability. These games do take a little while, so there is a wait, but you will get it done. I promise you that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope these tips help you out. If they did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more. I've been really pushing my YouTube and my Twitch content a lot, so if you guys are interested in this or meeting me or coming and hang out on the stream, anything will work. Just stop by and say what's up. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one. TikTak out.